What if one of the most emblematic stories of the Toronto Maple Leafs, a true passion for the entire fan base, was on the verge of its final chapter? Mitch Marner, the star who captivated the city, who became a symbol of skill and hope, seems to be quietly drifting away from the team he has always worn with pride. What is happening behind the scenes of this relationship that once seemed unbreakable? And what does it mean for the future of the team and the fans who live and breathe Maple Leafs? Since being selected 4th overall in the 2015 draft, Mitch Marner has been more than just another pick for Toronto. He became a pillar, a fundamental piece in building an identity that Leafs fans have always wanted to see: young talent, boldness, and a contagious passion on the ice. He played 657 games defending the Maple Leaf, with 221 goals and an impressive 520 assists. Numbers that speak not only of skill, but also the dedication and consistency Marner delivered season after season. More than that, Mitch was the face of hope for a generation that grew up dreaming of the Maple Leafs' return to the top of the NHL. Those magical moments when he led the attack, his creative plays, his competitive spirit in the playoffs, all of this built an almost personal connection with the fans. To them, he was more than an athlete. He was a hero, one of the few who carried the Leafs' flame during times that were not always easy. But now, after years of achievements and expectations, that bond is threatened. A deep silence hangs in the air, a silence that shakes the heart of any Leafs enthusiast, and raises a question that echoes: is this Mitch Marner's goodbye? If you're someone who follows every step of the Toronto Maple playing at a high level, heart in your hand represents a short term. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. Here, you get access to every detail of the story before anyone else, becoming part of a community that lives every emotion, every doubt, every hope. Join us to uncover what is happening and what might come next. Information brought by Elliotte Friedman, one of the most respected NHL insiders, indicates that negotiations between Mitch Marner and the Leafs are at a critical point, perhaps even breaking point. According to him, there is practically no dialogue between the parties, a silence that, far from being comfortable, reveals growing tension. Marner is set to become a free agent next month, and all signs point to him not wearing Toronto's jersey again. Furthermore, teams like the Anaheim Ducks, Carolina Hurricanes, Los Angeles Kings, and Vegas Golden Knights appear on the horizon as possible destinations for the star. Names that today spark speculation, but indicate the magnitude of the impact Marner could have outside Toronto. Considering the player's current contract, which is around $10.93 million per season, the negotiation is not simple, and every move will have deep consequences. Andy Strickland, from FanDuel Sports Network, recently reinforced this possibility by stating that Marner will play for another team next season. This statement only strengthens the atmosphere of uncertainty and expectation among fans, who try to understand what this silence between player and team really means. Friedman also mentioned the possibility of Marner seeking a new 4-year contract with his new team, which would open space for another major negotiation down the line. A smart plan for the player's future, who thinks long-term and wants to secure his market value. Behind this silence and these rumors, the truth is that this negotiation is far from simple or cold. There is an emotional and strategic complexity involving both the Leafs management and Marner himself. On one side, the management needs to make tough decisions, balancing financial interests, roster building, and fan expectations. On the other side, Marner seeks not only recognition for his value, but a future that allows him to keep growing and shining in the NHL. According to reports, the idea of a meeting between the parties seems to have lost meaning, almost as if the story is already written. Friedman even highlighted the ironic side of the situation, saying that an outside team would have found the possibility of a meeting funny. After all, they already know everything about each other. But this distance also brings frustration. For a fan base used to seeing Marner in action, the prospect of seeing him away from the Maple Leafs is a blow. The silence between the star and the team creates a void that is hard to fill, and anxiety grows with each passing day. What does this possible departure represent for the Leafs? In practical terms, losing a player like Mitch Marner means deeply shaking the team's structure. He is primarily responsible for creating plays, the engine of the offense, and one of the leaders in the locker room. Last regular season, Marner scored an impressive 102 points, his best career mark, and maintained this pace in the playoffs, registering 13 points in 13 games. These numbers reflect not only talent, but a decisive influence in crucial moments. Without him, the team's chemistry changes, strategies need be revised, and pressure on other players increases. The fans, who have dreamed of a title for decades, will see a gap that is hard to fill immediately. On the other hand, this departure can also open space for new signings, tactical adjustments, and a roster renewal that, over time, might bring fresh energy. But the question remains, is the Toronto Maple Leafs ready for this moment? Or is there still a chance to reverse the situation and keep Mitch Marner wearing blue and white? And you, passionate Leafs fan, what do you think about all this? Are we about to witness the end of an era, or could there still be a new beginning? A reunion between Marner and the city that loves him so much? Leave your opinion in the comments. Join this debate that is as much yours as it is the team's. But while Toronto Maple Leafs fans are still trying to digest the almost sepulchral silence and the real possibility of Mitch Marner's goodbye, the franchise's offseason continues at a fast pace, filled with expectations. Amid so much doubt and uncertainty, a new and daring possibility begins to gain traction behind the scenes, bringing a breath of hope and a lot of pressure to a team that has already lived through countless almost moments and now wants, finally, to turn the almost into reality. What if the next era of the Toronto Maple Leafs begins with a silent sacrifice and an unexpected arrival? In a league defined by improbable comebacks and redemption stories, few teams carry an emotional weight as heavy as the Maple Leafs. The blue and white beating in the hearts of millions of fans is more than just a symbol. It's a burden of memories, of broken promises, and of a weight that has already spanned generations. But now, as the lights go out on last season and the winds of the offseason blow in all directions, a new name emerges, a new whisper in the NHL rumor mill. And that name comes loaded with talent, leadership, and a question that no one can ignore. Mika Zibanejad. Yes, that one. The dominant center from the New York Rangers. One of the most respected players in the league. A quiet leader with a game that speaks volumes. And perhaps the missing piece the Leafs have been searching for to change the course of their history. But before we dive into the present, it's impossible not to look to the past. Because to understand the Leafs is to understand an emotional cycle that keeps repeating. From the days of Daryl Sittler through Matt Sundin, despite still playing at a high level, Kessel represents a Toronto Maple Leafs have been desperately chasing a balance between talent, identity, and, above all, results. They've tried fresh starts, rebuilds, and quiet revolutions. They've been full of young promise and seasoned veterans. They've been a team of the future and of frustration. Today, the Leafs are an enigma, and at a time when the future of John Tavares and Mitch Marner becomes more uncertain with each passing day, this trade would mean more than just numbers. It would mean positioning. It would mean conviction. It would mean courage. If you're one of those fans who follows every step, every rumor, every suspicious tweet, then go ahead and hit like, subscribe, and tell us in the comments. Could this trade really redefine the Leafs' destiny? Or are we looking at yet another false promise? Here, we bleed blue and white. Here, you hear it first, before anyone else. Now then, let's get to facts. According to Jonas Siegel, a renowned NHL insider, the Leafs are eyeing Mika Zibanejad. The idea is clear, to bring in a high-impact replacement for the possible departure of Tavares, who, at age 34 and with an expiring contract, may test free agency after a surprising 38-goal season. But there's a problem on the horizon. There are no elite centers available in free agency. The supply is thin, the names are limited, and the cost of betting on someone inconsistent might be too high for a franchise with so little room for error. That's where Zibanejad comes in. with a contract running through 2029 and in $8.5 million cap hit. The 32-year-old Swede has a no-move clause. He only leaves the Rangers if he wants to. But sources indicate that Toronto is at the top of a short list of acceptable destinations, precisely because it offers immediate competitiveness, media exposure, a major market, and, perhaps most importantly, a central role in rebuilding the offense. For the Rangers, the equation is financial. Trocheck and Miller already hold down the central positions, and the salary cap space is starting to tighten. Trading Zibanejad could free up around $5 million in flexibility and bring back young, productive players in return, including a certain high-energy forward who exploded during the playoffs against the Ottawa Senators. Behind closed doors, Brad Treliving sees a unique window. With the imminent departure of two of the franchise's biggest contracts, the Leafs will have over $25 million available. And with Sam Bennett nearing an extension with the Panthers, the scarcity of options makes Zibanejad even more valuable. The risk? Of course there is one. 5 years left on the deal, a significant cap hit, and a legitimate question. Can Zibanejad maintain this level for that long? But when we look at the player closely, the numbers impress. In 2021-22, he posted 81 points in 81 games. In 2023, he delivered dominant performances in crucial moments. And even with a slight recent dip, Zibanejad still brings more than many give him credit for. He's 6 feet 2 inches, over 200 pounds, physically present. He's younger than Nazem Kadri and more impactful than Luke Shen. He has the versatility to play in all 3 zones, refined tactical awareness, and the ability to make decisions in big games. He might not have Marner's media shine, but his consistency and competitive mindset are exactly what the Leafs locker room is missing. What could this trade mean? Much more than just a new player. It could mark the end of an era, the era of the core for that never truly worked, and the beginning of a new phase, more pragmatic, more focused on depth, balance, and experience. With Zibanejad, Matthews gains offensive freedom. Nylander, if he stays, will face less pressure to be the guy. And the Leaf system, long relying on the inspiration of its stars, could finally gain a more robust structure, less vulnerable in the physical grind of playoff hockey. But for this to work, it all starts with a conversation, a phone call, a meeting. Zibanejad would have to agree to come to Toronto, to leave the comfort of New York, to bet on a project that, in recent years, has promised much and delivered little. And that's where Leafs fans find themselves now, somewhere between hope and exhaustion. Could this finally be it? Could Zibanejad be more than a smart move? Could he be the decisive one? That's what management needs to decide. And that's what we as fans need to watch closely. Comment below. Would you accept Zibanejad's contract for the next 5 years if it meant immediate stability and competitiveness? This could be the final gamble before another collapse, or the first brick in building a championship team. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and share this video with other Leafs fans, because this saga is just beginning, and the next chapters could change everything. Deep down, every Leafs fan knows the pain is part of the package, but hope is what brings us back every season. And what is Zibanejad is the next name to enter history. The decision is coming, and when it arrives, you'll want to be here to see it.